And we're live. This is in August of 2021. I want to read to you from Napoleon Hill's classic from 1937, Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Introduction. The power of a single book. I want to read to you just the back of the book. It says in big letters, the world's greatest book on successful living. Now in a special compact edition. Here's the complete experience of Think and Grow Rich. This is Mitch Horowitz, the author that is narrating this abridged edition. This is what he says about Think and Grow Rich. Here's the complete experience of Think and Grow Rich in an exquisitely brief and faithful condensation. In less than an hour of reading, you'll learn all 13 of Napoleon Hill's famous steps to wealth and achievement. This masterly summation of Hill's original landmark explains why you must write down your goals, the immeasurable importance of a definite major aim, how to benefit from hunches and sudden inspirations, the magic of persistence in the face of setbacks, how to program your mind for success, the extraordinary power of the mastermind group. Abridged and introduced by PEN award-winning historian Mitch Horowitz, this concise rendition of Hill's masterwork in both the perfect introduction to Think and Grow Rich and a great refresher for those who already know the book and its powers. And it should be read regularly. Keep in mind of the famous 13 Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich philosophy of achievement. Put at your bedside and review daily on a daily basis. The power of a single book. Introduction, the power of a single book. The book you're about to experience has probably touched more lives than any other work of modern self-help. Try a small personal experiment. Carry a copy of Think and Grow Rich with you through an airport, grocery store, shopping mall, or any public place and see if more than one person doesn't stop you and say something like, now that's a great book. I've met artists, business people, doctors, teachers, athletes, people from different professions and possess seemingly different outer goals who have attested that Think and Grow Rich made a concrete difference in their lives. This is because whatever our individual aims and desires, all motivated people share one common trait, the drive for personal excellence. This book, better than any other I know, breaks down the steps and elements to accomplishing any worthwhile goal. When journalist Napoleon Hill published Think and Grow Rich in 1937, he had already dedicated more than 20 years of study to discovering, documenting the common traits displayed by high achievers across varying fields. Hill observed and interviewed more than 500 exceptional people, ranging from statesmen and generals to inventors and industrialists. He condensed their shared traits into 13 principles of accomplishment, and this forms the core of Think and Grow Rich. This book has sold many millions of copies around the world since its first appearance, but that is not the true measure of its success. Lots of books gain popularity for a time, but go unread and sometimes unheard of within a decade or so of their publication. But Think and Grow Rich has, if anything, grown in influence since Hill's death in 1970. Its ideas are at the foundation of most of today's philosophies of business motivation and personal achievement. But there's still more to Hill's book than that, and this brings us back to the little experiment proposed at the start of the preface. Think and Grow Rich evokes rare and deep felt affection among its many readers. All over America and other parts of the world, it is possible to run into friendly strangers who will beckon you aside for a moment to share a brief personal connection, telling you how Think and Grow Rich has helped them in life. In a sense, you're about to join an informal fraternity of strivers from a wide range of backgrounds who have benefited from the principles in this book. When you meet them, and you will, many will welcome you with a nod and smile as if to say, "We've been waiting for you." Mitch Horowitz. Chapter 1, Desire, the first step to riches. In the early 20th century, a great American salesman and businessman named Edwin C. Barnes discovered how true it is that men really do think and grow rich. Barnes' discovery did not come in one sitting. It came little by little, beginning with an all-consuming desire to become a business associate of the inventor Thomas Edison. One of the chief characteristics of Barnes' desire was that it was definite. Barnes wanted to work with Edison, not just for him. Straight off a freight train, Barnes presented himself in 1905 at Edison's New Jersey laboratory. He announced that he had come in to go into business with the inventor. And speaking of the meeting years later, Edison said, "He stood there looking before me, looking like an ordinary tramp. But there was something in the expression of his face which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he had come after." Barnes did not get his partnership with Edison on his first interview, but he did get a chance to work in the Edison offices at a very nominal wage, doing a job that was unimportant to Edison, but most important to Barnes because it gave him an opportunity to display his abilities to his future partner. Months passed. Nothing happened outwardly to bring Barnes any closer to his goal, but something important was happening in Barnes' mind. He was constantly intensifying his chief desire and plans to become Edison's business associate. Barnes was determined to remain ready until he got the opportunity he came for. When the big chance arrived, it was in a different form, from a different direction than Barnes had expected. That is the one tricks of opportunity. It has a sly habit of slipping in by the back door, and it often comes disguised as misfortune or temporary defeat. Perhaps this is why so many fail to wait for or recognize opportunity when it arrives. Edison had just perfected a new device known as the Edison dictating machine. His salesmen were not enthusiastic, but Barnes saw his opportunity. A hidden, strange-looking contraption that interested no one, Barnes seized the chance to sell the dictating machine, and he did it so successfully that Edison gave him a contract to distribute and market it all over the world. When Edwin C. Barnes climbed down from that freight train in Orange, New Jersey, he possessed one consuming obsession to become the business associate of the great inventor. Barnes' desire was not a hope, it was not a wish, it was a keen, pulsating desire which transcended everything else. It was definite. Wishing will not bring riches or other forms of success, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession. Then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches, and backing those plans with persistence that does not recognize failure will bring success. The method by which desire can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, "I want plenty of money." Be definite as to the amount. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. And fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you're ready or not, to put this plan into action. And fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan to which you intend to accumulate it. Sixth, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night, and once after rising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. It is especially important that you observe and follow number 6. You may complain that it is impossible for you to see yourself in possession of the money before you actually have it. Here's where a burning desire will come to your aid. If you truly desire money or another goal so clean that your desire is an obsession, you have no difficulty in convincing yourself that you will acquire it. The object is to want it so much and become so determined that you convince yourself you will have it. In future chapters, you will learn why that this is important. Chapter 2, Faith, the second step to riches. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up a vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it into infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. All thoughts that have been emotionalized, given feeling, and mixed with faith begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent. If you are having difficulty getting a grasp of just what faith is, think of it as a special form of persistence, one that we feel when we know that we have right at our backs that help us to persevere through setbacks. Through setbacks and temporary failure. To develop this quality in yourself, use this 5-step formula. Promise yourself to read, repeat, and abide by these steps and write down your promise. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know that through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of obtaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I've clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I'll never stop trying until I have shall develop sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I'll eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never bring me success. I'll cause others to believe in me because I'll believe in them and in myself. I'll sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that I'll gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I'll become a self-reliant and successful person. Chapter 3, Autosuggestion, the third step to riches. Autosuggestion is a term that applies to all suggestions and self-administered stimuli that reach one's mind through the 5 senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication between the conscious and subconscious minds. But your subconscious mind recognizes and acts only upon thoughts that have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. This is a fact of such importance as to warrant repetition. When you begin to use and keep using this 3-step program for autosuggestion in this chapter, beyond the alert for hunches from the subconscious mind, and when they appear, put them into action immediately. First, go into some quiet spot, preferably in bed at night, where you'll not be disturbed or interrupted. Close your eyes and repeat aloud so you may hear your own words, written statement of the amount of money you intend to accumulate, the time limit for its accumulation, and a description of the service or merchandise you intend and to give in return for the money. As you carry out these instructions, see yourself already in possession of the money. For example, suppose that you intend to accumulate $50,000 by the 1st of January, 5 years hence, that you intend to give him personal services in return for the money in the capacity of a salesman. Your written statement of your purpose should be similar to the following. By the first day of January, I'll have in my possession $50,000, which will come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim. In return for this money, I'll give the most efficient service of which I am capable, rendering the fullest possible quantity and the best possible quality of service in the capacity of a salesman of, and describe the service or merchandise you intend to sell. I believe that I'll have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see this money before my eyes. I can touch it with my hands. It is now awaiting transfer to me at the time in the proportion that I deliver the service I intend to render for it. I am awaiting a plan by which to accumulate this money, and I'll follow that plan when it is received. Second, repeat this program night and morning until you can see in your imagination the money you intend to accumulate. Third, place a written copy of your statement where you can see it night and morning and read it just before retiring and upon arising until it has been memorized. Chapter 4, Specialized Knowledge. The fourth step to riches. General knowledge, no matter how great in quantity or variety, is of little use in accumulating money. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when and if it is organized into definite plans of action and directed toward a definite end. In connection with your aim, you must decide what sort of specialized knowledge you require and the purpose for which it is needed. To a large extent, the major purpose in life and the goal toward your working will help determine what knowledge you need. With this question settled, your next move requires that you have accurate information concerning the dependable sources of knowledge. Look toward many high quality sources for the knowledge you seek. People, courses, partnerships, books. Look everywhere. Some of this knowledge will be free. Never undervalue what is free, and some will require purchasing. Decide what knowledge you seek and pursue it completely. The author spent more than 20 years interviewing people and studying success methods before writing this book. Without specialized knowledge, your ideas remain mere wishes. Once you have acquired the knowledge you need, you can use your critical faculty of imagination to combine your ideas with this specialized knowledge and make organized plans to carry out your aims. This is the formula for capability, using imagination to combine specialized knowledge with ideas and to form organized plans. The connecting ingredient is imagination, which we will now learn to cultivate. Chapter 5, Imagination, the fifth step to riches. The imagination is the workshop wherein are fashioned all plans created by man. The impulse to desire is literally given shape, form, and action through the aid of the imaginative faculty of the mind. Through the medium of creative imagination, the finite mind of man has direct communication with the infinite intelligence. Imagination is the faculty through which hunters and inspirations are reached. It is by this faculty that all basic or new ideas are handed over to man. It is through this faculty that thought vibrations from the minds of others are received. It is through this faculty that one individual may tune in or communicate with the subconscious minds of others. The creative imagination works only when the conscious mind is stimulated through the emotion of strong desire. This is highly significant. What's more, the creative faculty may have become weak through inaction. Your imagination becomes more alert and more receptive in proportion to its development through use. After you have completed this book, return in this section and begin at once to put your imagination to work on the building of a plan or plans for the transmutation of desire to money or your core aim. Reduce your plan to writing. The moment you complete this, you will have definitely given concrete form to the intangible desire. This step is extremely important. When you reduce the statement of your desire and the plan for its realization into writing, you have actually taken the first of a series of steps that will enable you to convert your thought into its physical counterpart. Chapter 6, Organized planning, the sixth step to riches. It is vital that you form a definite, practical plan or plans to carry out your aims. You'll now learn how to build plans that are practical as follows. First, ally yourself with a group of as many people as you may need for the creation and carrying out of your plan or plans for the accumulation of money. Making use of the mastermind principle described in the later chapter. Compliance with this instruction is essential. Do not neglect it. Second, before forming your mastermind alliance, decide what advantages and benefits you may offer the individual members of your group in return for their cooperation. No one will work indefinitely without some form of compensation. No intelligent person will either request or expect another to work without adequate compensation, although this may not always be in the form of money. Third, arrange to meet with the members of your mastermind group at least twice a week and more often if possible until you have jointly perfected the necessary plans for the accumulation of money. Fourth, maintain perfect harmony between yourself and every member of your mastermind group. If you fail to carry out this instruction to the letter, you may expect to meet with failure. The mastermind principle cannot obtain where perfect harmony does not prevail. Keep in mind these facts. 1. You're engaged in an undertaking of major importance to you. To be sure of success, you must have plans that are faultless. 2. You must have the advantage of the experience, education, native ability, and imagination of other minds. This is in harmony with the methods followed by every person who has accumulated great fortune. Now, if the first plan you devise does not work successfully, replace it with a new plan. If this new plan fails to work, replace it in turn with still another, and so on until you find a plan that does work. Right here is the point where the majority of men meet with failure because of their lack of persistence in creating new plans to take place of those that fail. Remember this when your plan fails. Temporary defeat is not permanent failure. No follower of this philosophy can reasonably expect to accumulate a fortune without experiencing temporary defeat. When defeat comes, accept it as a signal that your plans are not sound. Rebuild those plans and set sail once more toward your goal. And finally, as you are devising your plans, keep in mind these major attributes of leadership, traits possessed by the great achievers. 1. Unwavering courage. 2. Self-control. 3. A keen sense of justice. 4. Definiteness of decision. 5. Definiteness of plan. 6. The habit of doing more than paid for. 7. A pleasing personality. And 8. Sympathy and understanding. 9. Mastery of detail. 10. Willingness to assume full responsibility. And 11. Cooperation with others. Chapter 7. Decision. 7 Step to Riches. Analysis of several hundred people who had accumulated fortunes disclosed that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing these decisions slowly, if and when they were changed. People who fail to accumulate money, without exception, have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, very slowly and of changing these decisions quickly and often. What's more, the majority of people who fail to accumulate money sufficient for their needs tend to be easily influenced by the opinion of others. Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth. Everyone has a flock of opinions ready to be wished upon. Anyone will accept them. If you're influenced by opinions when you reach decisions, you will not succeed in any undertaking, much less in transmitting your own desire into money. If you're influenced by the opinions of others, you will have no desire of your own. Keep your own counsel. And when you begin to put into practice the principles described here by reaching your own decisions and following them, take no one into your confidence except members of your mastermind group. And be very sure in the selection of this group that you choose only those who will be in complete sympathy and harmony with your purpose. Close friends and relatives, while not meaning to often handicap one through opinions and sometimes through ridicule, which is meant to be humorous. Thousands of men and women carry inferiority complexes with them throughout life because some well-meaning but ignorant person destroyed their confidence through opinions or ridicule. You have a mind of your own. Use it. and reach your own decisions. If you need facts or information from others to enable you to reach decisions, as you probably will, in many instances, acquire these facts or secure the information you need quietly without disclosing your purpose. Those who reach decisions promptly and definitely know what they want and generally get it. Leaders in every walk of life decide quickly and firmly. That is the major reason why they are leaders. The world has a habit of making room for the man whose words and actions show that he knows where he is going. Chapter 8: Persistence, the eighth step to riches. Persistence is an essential factor in transmitting desire to its monetary equivalent. The basis of persistence is the power of will. Willpower and desire, when properly combined, make an irresistible pair. Many who accumulate great fortunes are generally known as cold blooded and sometimes ruthless. Often they are misunderstood. What they have is willpower, which they mix with persistence and place back their desires to ensure the attainment of their objectives. Lack of persistence is one of the major causes of failure. Experience with thousands of people has proved that lack of persistence is a weakness common to the majority of men. It is a weakness that may be overcome by effort. The ease with which lack of persistence may be conquered depends entirely upon the intensity of one's desire. In short, there is no substitute for persistence. It cannot be supplanted by any other quality. Remember this, and it will hearten you in the beginning when the going may seem difficult and slow. Those who have cultivated the habit of persistence seem to enjoy insurance against failure. No matter how many times they are defeated, they finally arrive toward the top of the ladder. Sometimes it appears that there is a hidden guide whose duty is to test men through all sorts of discouraging experiences. Those who pick themselves up after defeat and keep on trying arrive at their destination. The hidden guide lets no one enjoy a great achievement without passing the persistence test. What we do not see, what most of us never suspected existing, is the silent, irresistible power that comes to the rescue of those who fight on in the face of discouragement. If we speak of this power at all, we call it persistence. There are four simple steps that lead to the habit of persistence. 1. A definite purpose backed by burning desire for its fulfillment. 2. A definite plan expressed in continuous action. 3. A mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences, including negative suggestions of relatives, friends, and acquaintances. And 4. A friendly alliance with one or more persons will encourage for you to follow through with both plan and purpose. Chapter 9: The Mastermind, the Ninth Step to Riches. The mastermind may be defined as a coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. No individual may hold great power without availing himself of the mastermind. A, a previous chapter supplied instructions for the creation of plans for the purpose of translating desire into its monetary equivalent. If you carry out these instructions with persistence and intelligence, and use discrimination in selecting your mastermind group, your objective will have been halfway reached, even before you begin to recognize it. The mastermind brings an obvious economic advantage by allowing you to surround yourself with the advice, counsel, and personal cooperation of a group of people who are willing to lend you wholehearted aid in a spirit of perfect harmony. But there is also a more abstract phase, and it may be called the psychic phase. The psychic phase of the mastermind is more difficult to comprehend because it has a reference to the spiritual forces with which the human race as a whole is not well acquainted. You may catch a significant suggestion from the statement: no two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind. The human mind is a form of energy, a part of it being spiritual in nature. When the minds of two people are coordinated in a spirit of harmony, the spiritual units of energy of each mind form an affinity which constitutes the psychic phase of the mastermind. Analyze the record of any man who has accumulated a great fortune and many of those who have accumulated modest fortunes, and you will find that they have either consciously or unconsciously employed the mastermind. Great power can be accumulated through no other principle. Chapter 10, Sex Transmutation, the 10th step to riches. The meaning of the word transmute is, in simple language, the changing or transferring of one element or form of energy into another. The emotion of sex brings into being a unique and powerful state of mind that can be used for extraordinary intellectual and material creative purposes. This is accomplished through sex transmutation, which means the switching of the mind from thoughts of physical expression to thoughts of some other nature. Sex is the most powerful of all human desires. When driven by this desire, men develop keenness of imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability unknown to them at other times. So strong and appalling is the desire for sexual contact that men freely run the risk of life and reputation to indulge in it. When harnessed and redirected along other lines, this motivating force maintains all of its attributes of keenness of imagination and courage, which may be used as powerful creative forces in literature, art, or in any other profession or calling, including, of course, the accumulation of riches. The transmutation of sex energy calls for the exercise of willpower, but be sure the reward is worth the effort. The desire for sexual expression is inborn and natural. The desire should not be submerged or limited, but should be given an outlet through forms of expression that enrich the body, mind, and spirit. If not given this form of outlet through a transmutation, it will seek outlets through purely physical channels. The emotion of sex is an irresistible force, and driven by this emotion, men become gifted with the superpower of action. Understand this truth, and you will catch the significance of the statement that sex transmutation will lift one into the status of genius. The emotion of sex contains the secret of creative ability. When harnessed and transmuted, this driving force is capable of lifting men to that higher sphere of thought which enables them to master the forces of worry and petty annoyance that beset their pathway on the lower plane. The major reason why the majority of men who succeed do not begin to until after the ages of 40 to 50 or beyond is their tendency to dissipate their energies through overindulgence in physical expression, the emotion of sex. The majority of men never learn that the urge of sex has other possibilities which far transcend in importance that of the mere physical expression. But remember, sexual energy must be transmuted from desire for physical contact into some other form of desire and action in order to lift one to the status of genius. Chapter 11, The Subconscious Mind, the 11th Step to Riches. The subconscious mind is the connecting link between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. It is the intermediary through which one may draw upon the forces of the infinite intelligence at will. It alone contains the secret process by which mental impulses are modified and changed into their spiritual equivalent. It alone is the medium through which prayer may be transmitted to the source capable of answering prayer. I never approached the discussion of the subconscious mind without feeling a littleness and inferiority due perhaps to the fact that man's entire stock of knowledge on the subject is so pitifully limited. The very fact that the subconscious mind is the medium of communication between the thinking mind of man and infinite intelligence is itself a thought that almost paralyzes one's reason. After you have accepted as a reality the existence of your subconscious mind and understand its possibilities of transmitting your desires into their physical or monetary equivalent, you will understand why you have been repeatedly urged to make your desires clear and to reduce them to writing. You will also understand the necessity of persistence in carrying out instructions. The 13 principles in this book are the stimuli with which, through practice and persistence, you acquire the ability to reach and influence your subconscious mind. Chapter 12, The Brain, the 12th Step to Riches. More than 20 years ago, before writing this book, the author, working with the late Dr. Alexander Graham Bell and Dr. Elmer R. Gates, observed that every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station of the vibration of thought. The creative imagination is the receiving set of the brain, which receives thoughts released by the brains of others. It is the agency of communication between one's conscious or reasoning mind and the other sources which one may receive through stimuli. When stimulated or stepped up to high rates of vibration, the mind becomes more receptive to the vibration of thought from outside sources. This stepping up occurs through the positive emotions of the negative emotions. Through the emotions, the vibrations of thought may be increased. This is why it is crucial that your goal have strong emotions to back of it. Vibrations at an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried from one brain to another. Thought is energy traveling at an exceedingly high rate of vibration. Thought that has been modified or stepped up by any other major emotions vibrates at a much higher rate than ordinary thought. And it is this type of thought that passes from one mind to another through the broadcasting machinery of the human mind brain. Thus, you'll see the broadcasting principle is the factor that which you must mix feeling your emotion with your thoughts and pass them on to your subconscious mind into the minds of others. Chapter 13, the sixth sense, the 13th step to riches, the door to the temple of wisdom. The 13th and final principle is known as the sixth sense, through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort or demands by the individual. After you have mastered the principles in this book, you'll be prepared to accept as a true and statement that may otherwise seem incredible, namely, through the aid of the sixth sense, you'll be warned of impending dangers in time to avoid them, and notified of opportunities to embrace them. With the development of the sixth sense, there comes to your aid and to your bidding a kind of guardian angel who will open to you at all times the door to the temple of wisdom. Whether this is a statement of truth, you'll never know except by following the instructions described in this book or some other similar method. The author is not a believer in nor an advocate of miracles for the reason that he has enough knowledge of nature to understand that nature never deviates from her established laws. Some of her laws are so incomprehensible that they produce what appear to be miracles. The sixth sense comes as near being a miracle as anything I've ever experienced. Epilogue, a word about fear. As you begin any new undertaking, you are likely at one point or another to find yourself gripped by the emotion of fear. Fear should never be bargained with or capitulated to. It takes the charm from one's personality, destroys the possibility of accurate thinking, diverts concentration of effort, masters persistence, turns the willpower into nothingness, destroys ambition, beclouds the memory, and invites failure in every inconceivable form. It kills love and assassinates the finer emotions of the heart, discourages friendship, and leads to sleeplessness, misery, and unhappiness. So pernicious and destructive is the emotion of fear that it almost literally worse than anything that can fall on you. If you suffer from a fear of poverty, reach a decision to get along with whatever wealth you can accumulate without worry. If you fear the loss of love, reach a decision to get along without love, if that is necessary. If you experience a general sense of worry, reach a blanket decision that nothing life has to offer is worth the price of worry. And remember, the greatest of all remedies for fear is a burning desire for achievement, backed by useful service to others. And that concludes the reading from Think and Grow Rich, the classic from 1937 by Napoleon Hill, and his 13 principles of the Think and Grow Rich philosophy. And that is the reading of today.